So this is Grace Kim, and she's going to walk us through everything to do with shopping and how you're going to get your campaigns also for the holidays. So take it away, Grace.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hope you guys had a great lunch, enjoyed Google Campus and some of the awesome cafes around here. Actually, Coffee Lab, if you haven't been there, is my favorite spot on campus. So you get a chance in the afternoon to hide away there. They have some live music, by the way, and certain afternoons, which is great. So today I'll be talking about Google Shopping, mainly known as product listing ads for most of us probably here in this room. And we'll be going through just a few best practices that we think are pretty crucial for the holiday season, now that we are officially here in the holiday. Before we get started, let me just go really quickly and talk about myself. I'm Grace Kim. I'm on the global performance team, and from a high level, what our team does is we try to understand what are the needs of advertisers and users and use those kind of signals to figure out new products to develop so that we can provide new solutions. I personally work specifically on Google Shopping, and so looking at new product solutions for our shoppers out there and retailers. And prior to Google, I spent about 5 years in the agency side managing SEM, social media campaigns, UX tests, so probably pretty familiar with some of the stuff that you guys are doing now today. And I'm born and raised in LA, so go Clippers. If you guys have been following the incredibly long saga this year, very excited about the new management team in place for this upcoming season. Real quick, I wanted to get a poll of you guys. Just wanted to know, how many of you guys have actually created a PLA campaign and managed it before? Okay. Almost everyone. How many of you guys have been doing it for about 2 years? Okay, about half the room. You guys are movers and shakers. That's probably about how old PLAs are. So you've seen the progress that we have made in these last 2 years, and we're excited about much more to come. Well, let me get started really quickly and give you a brief, very brief recap on the few things that our team has been focused on this past year. A big sort of goal for our team was to take Google Shopping and actually expand it to new areas. So we've been focused on expanding beyond the US, and I understand that there are some folks here outside of the US here today, which is exciting. Glad you guys can be here with us. So we were able to expand to 23 countries, which now includes more than 700,000 merchants, which means that any given day, Google Shopping can be representing one of over 1 billion products being served on our platform, and that number really is just growing. Shopping in general has been an exciting arena for Google to enter into. Around the holiday season last year, we saw 110% growth in traffic that we sent to merchant sites directly. And how about this year? This year we started out pretty strong too. As you can see here on the screen, we started about with a 42% growth in traffic, and then in Q2, the entire traffic volume alone outsurpassed the volume of holiday traffic last year. So obviously, we are expecting a pretty huge holiday season this year, probably the biggest we've ever seen, and we're pretty excited about it. Holidays are, at least for most US retailers, a really important season where you go from red to black, which is the reason why you get the name Black Friday. And so we're hoping that you guys all have great success as you get ready for this season. Mobile. We all know that people are spending more and more time on mobile, and one of the things that our team wanted to think about was, well, what can we do to make the user experience of mobile and tablet devices a little bit more unique to the device? And one of the examples here is the swipeable carousel, which allows you to swipe through with your finger on a Google.com ad unit and see more PLA impressions or PLAs to increase the chances that you will find a product most relevant to your query. A great result of this has been an increase in triggering, increase in click-through rate, both on mobile and tablet, and we saw just in Q1 alone we were able to 3.5x the traffic sent to these devices. We really feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg. This next year we're going to be focusing on even more features that we can introduce to mobile to make sure that we are capturing those users uniquely. And lastly, since you guys have all managed product listing ads, you are very familiar and probably relieved that Shopping Campaign is now officially here. And hopefully you'll never have to do another migration ever again. But we are really excited for Shopping Campaigns. I mean, to be really transparent, we felt like we were asking advertisers to kind of hack their way around AdWords, not really the same way to manage a product-led campaign. So we kind of really grounds up redid this whole platform and made it more usable for a product-centric and not a keyword-centric management tool. And we believe now we have the foundation to build a lot more tools upon this new ground. We didn't want to invest in something in AdWords and have to redo everything again. So we are making a long-term bet on this, and we really feel like with the kind of plans that I see in place, at least for the next upcoming years, we're going to see more and more powerful tools coming out here, unique to the way that you can manage your product businesses. So really excited about that, and thank you all for the effort that you have made to help yourself or your clients migrate their campaigns to shopping campaigns. Well, just to kind of get us started with the holiday season, I'm going to go through very briefly just 3 new trends that we expect for this holiday season. I'm assuming most of you guys are pretty much aware of a lot of these trends. The first one here is a focus on tentpole events. So your classic Black Friday, Cyber Monday, sort of Christmas tentpole events. Historically a very important time of the season to make sure that you are capturing as much revenue as possible. I'm sure you guys have been noticing this, but what has been interesting in the last few years is that retailers are extending Black Friday. Every year they start just a little bit earlier, they open their stores a little bit earlier, they release their deals online a little earlier, and last year there was an official new term for this called Gray Friday. And so, you know what, this trend, I don't think it's actually going away. It's been about 3 years I've personally seen this trend grow, and consumers are responding. I don't know if that is people leaving their Thanksgiving event, or maybe, more idealistically, they're gathering around their Thanksgiving post-dinner with other family members and shopping on their tablet devices. A family activity, possibly. But yes, people are definitely starting their research on deals, thinking about what products they want to buy way earlier than Black Friday. And you can definitely expect a lot of activity during this season. Just to give you a number out there, consumer a week earlier than last year to search for Black Friday, and over that sort of week we saw interest go up about 27% year on year. And I thought this was an interesting quote. 29% of shoppers will have started holiday shopping before Halloween, which means like this week. A third of the shoppers are already thinking about their Christmas shopping list. So we're definitely in the holiday season. What are interesting or important attributes for shoppers? What I found most interesting about this is that it hasn't really changed. For shoppers, 2 main things remain the most important factors for them: pricing and shipping. This is, I think, Comscore research that's being referenced here, that 9 out of 10 shoppers cited low prices as being the most important factor when shopping. 58% of shoppers have added items to their shopping carts just so they can qualify for free shipping. We've all been there. I've done that. I've definitely done that many times. The truth is it's probably not going to change too much. I think that we believe that this holiday season, these 2 factors are going to be huge deciding reasons why someone buys at one retailer or another. And so as you're considering your holiday promotional strategy, it would be great if you can at least maybe test offering these type of promotionals on a set of your inventory or maybe a set part of your customer base to see how you can really increase the volume that you get in sales this year. And lastly, mobile. I've been talking about mobile being here for, I feel like, 5 years now. And I think we've actually surpassed the moment of mobile, as people say. I mean, just looking at this stat here today, that mobile now accounts for 60% of total digital media time, which means that we spend more times on our devices, mobile and tablets, than any other devices at our home. That includes TV. So it's very clear that mobile is here, and if we're not present on mobile, we're going to miss out on a large portion of customers' mind share of your business, as oftentimes research starts on mobile when they're considering what to buy. And just last stat here, 38% of total site traffic is now from mobile devices. So make sure your mobile sites are looking great because that's going to be important, and that number is only going to increase. Well, why don't we dig into sort of our 5 best practices, kind of the meat of the talk here. We'll start with forecasting your holiday budget. So oftentimes we find that this becomes a sort of an important topic because it's hard to predict sometimes what's going to happen during the holidays, and the holidays tend to be a little bit different from all the other quarters that you're in. And so we get a lot of questions around, what should you do? What sort of signals can you look at to successfully forecast your budget? I think the most probably popular things that we do is looking at past performance, whether that is looking at your AdWords performance, maybe looking at clicks and looking at the year-on-year growth and kind of projecting the percentage of growth that you see from that, or maybe even looking at your internal metrics like your site. How has site performance changed in this past year? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Our average order value per transaction going up? What type of customers are you engaging on your site? So I think those are also important metrics to kind of consider as you're looking into forecasting. And once you have your budget number, you want to flat your budgets appropriately, probably a little bit back end loading towards the end of the quarter when you know the big holidays are coming around. I'll just mention one personal thing that I've noticed. A lot of people lose out an opportunity post-Christmas. It's like the shopper interest is still there. People are querying and they're searching for retail products, but people are either on vacation or the budget decision makers are on holiday, and a lot of that budget kind of gets steamed out at the end. But the truth is the trend really does continue through January. So as you're looking into your budget planning, you might want to not just end it on Christmas Day, but look through mid-January or end of January to make sure that you have your decisions sort of set in place before you get there. One interesting result of this is that even I feel like the last 3 years I've seen this every year. Demand goes up, but CPCs go down actually because people are not bidding as aggressively, which is a great opportunity to capture traffic without having to pay the higher CPCs that you normally see holiday season. So watch out for that this year as you're thinking through your budgets. We all know budgeting is both analysis and a discussion. We talked before right now just a lot about numbers that you can look at. But in truth, other half of budgeting is really discussing on your business strategy to increase sales to help make bigger profit each year. Demand side, we look at a lot of our e-commerce growth or click volume changes. But what about on the profit side? Have we really started to crack this question? And I think that really this industry, at Google included, we're sort of trained ourselves to manage our businesses or our campaigns based on a CPA target. And the question is, do we sort of limit ourselves on growth because we are artificially capping where we are willing to spend up to? So for example, let's say you have a $50 CPA target, and at that target you get about 1,000 conversions per month. The question is, if you were willing to relax that a little bit and move up to, let's say, $55 CPA target, would your conversion increase so much more so that it will offset the additional cost that you're eating up front with the CPA target increase? This is an interesting test where the focus is really more on the profit margin and less so on the CPA target. We're seeing actually more and more advertisers move towards this type of thinking and starting to think through what it means to take this idea and then pull it back to AdWords management, which is a different step I totally understand. But it's worth discussing profit margin as another factor in considering your budgeting. And I'll mention one other thing, customer lifetime value. We today are very focused on each conversion as it happens, and that's it. But the truth of the matter is most customers will buy more than once from a site. And you might even wonder, the new customers that you acquire during the holiday season, what is that person's value over the next 12 months after the holiday season? Is it higher than customers you acquired during back to school season? Is it lower? Are their transaction orders usually higher? It's a very interesting question to think through, and also back into your bidding decisions and budgeting decisions. So I know maybe this is a little bit late in the game, but it's definitely worth kind of continuing in as you think about your budgeting for this holiday season and next year. Number 2, implementing a seasonal strategy. Well, PLAs wouldn't be PLAs without our lovely product data feeds. If you guys are not familiar with PLAs, we not only have to work in AdWords, but we also have to work in Merchant Center and make sure our data feeds are up to date and working well with all the stuff that we're doing on the front end side on AdWords. So we just want to highlight a few very basic things here that your data feeds are set up for seasonal strategy. You can pick from a few preset attributes like product ID, which means you're bidding at the individual product level, and I would recommend this for some of your most important like doorbuster types of product where it's really worthwhile to you to spend that extra time to manage the bids at that level. You can group things by product category, like if, for example, if you are offering a 15% sale only on electronics, then you can group those attributes together. You can also use custom labels. I don't know how much of that you guys are using today. It's pretty powerful. You can group products based on seasonality. For example, if you sell, red and green tablecloths and linens much more during the holiday season, then maybe it's worthwhile to group those products differently and have a different attention and strategy for that. Or you can take on more of a business approach and look through high, low margins. Are there certain products that really bring in the margins for your business, or certain that really don't? Then you want to separate those out and think about those products differently. And lastly, promotions. You could also group your attributes using custom labels and thinking through different free shipping or holiday specials that you're offering for a particular segment of your inventory. Great. We just saw a few slides ago about how those two things are very important, so you might want to consider doing that as well. Talking about promotions, hopefully everyone is aware of this, but if you're not, you can actually schedule upcoming promotions in your feed, meaning you don't have to leave your Thanksgiving dinner to set up your data feed for a Black Friday promotion. You can do that weeks in advance in your data feed. You can set up the price, the sales price, the effective date that the promotion starts end to end, so that that's all automatically uploaded and done when the time comes. How about on the campaign management side in AdWords? Something that was unique to shopping campaigns that we introduced this year is campaign priority. And this really exists because it's very likely that your one single product, let's say Red Apron, could live in different groupings of attributes or campaigns, since we just talked about that. And it's really impossible for us to be managing where that campaign is and figuring that all out. So this tool is to help prioritize the time spent that you spend on different campaigns in your account. So if there are certain campaigns that you're sort of prioritizing your time in managing the bids, you want to set that as high. And that's really signaling Google to say, hey, use this more aggressive bid from this campaign and trump that against any other campaigns in my account. And it's a great way to make sure that the bids that you're really focusing on are the bids that Google is really focusing on. And lastly, in structure, as you're thinking about how to structure your campaigns and shopping campaigns, you may want to consider adding your head products into a separate group. By head products, I mean sort of like your best sellers or your high profit items that you really want to pay attention to. And this will allow you to make sort of bid adjustments a little bit faster and be a little bit more nimble when it comes to the heat of the holiday season and things are moving pretty quickly. And just a little tiny bonus, probably makes reporting a little bit easier as well post-holiday. All right, moving on to number 3, mobile. We already talked about how important mobile is. We talked about the traffic that is going out there. Another stat I'll throw out for you to consider is that 32% of shopping conversions actually begin with the mobile search. So even if a conversion isn't happening directly on mobile, the mobile device is very important in the journey of a shopper deciding on what to buy and purchase. So we'll look at just a few things that we think can be helpful on your mobile strategy. Beginning with your mobile site, mobile site optimization, as you guys are all very aware of, is a long-term bet. It takes a long time to get your site where you want it to be. If you had just a few weeks to tweak something a little bit more before the holiday season, maybe one or two of these might be something that you want to consider. So just the 5 options for you to consider out here, but obviously this is going to vary by your business needs. We have found that site search has been a key element in aiding shoppers to find what they want. And we all know that if we can't find what we want on a site, we just leave it and go somewhere else. Having site search available not only on your home page, but on product pages or category pages kind of throughout your site is a really great way to give navigational support to your users. Filters, once again, improve search usability by allowing more filters and a little bit more pages. Easy to get to, easy to filter, really important. Reduce purchase friction by simplifying checkout. I'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit later, but any way that you can save information about your customers before to make it very easy to get out to that checkout page is very important. And let users kind of see your site. Let them see the product before they have to fully commit and get through all that fun stuff with adding your credit card information and shipping address. Get them to get as much information, maybe even like the shipping cost before they enter their credit card information. That's pretty awesome for the user experience and might actually help them to commit more as they get into that final stage. And lastly, make it easy to finish converting on a different device. I would say that I move from device to device without even thinking about it. It's sort of like innate in all of us now. We call this seamless device proliferation. And I think that because our user experience is like, we want to sort of support that as much as possible on our sites. So if there's any way that users could favorite an item or maybe even email it to themselves very easily from a product page, it allows that customer to have just a little bit more easier time to get back into that shopping mode as they move from device to device later on. All right, so just want to stop really quickly and talk about the mobile link attribute. This was something that was more recently updated in our data feed. It allows you to add actual mobile link for mobile URL that you want to send your mobile PLA to. This is great. I'm sure a lot of people are using redirects, but sometimes redirects don't cover all your products. So this is a great way to ensure that no matter what PLA ad unit or product that you're sending traffic to, that they will always have the right mobile sort of pages available to that user. So yeah, go ahead and check out this new mobile link attribute in our data feed. If you haven't yet started exploring with mobile bid multipliers in PLAs, we definitely recommend that you do so. You can set a mobile bid multiplier between -90% and positive 300%. -100 means that you will not be showing on mobile. With more traffic coming from mobile and starting at mobile, it's definitely important that we do this. If you haven't really started testing it, a great way to kind of think through this is you can segment your data by device and look at the different metrics on conversions, on profit, CPA that you're getting and back in from that data to a percentage. Or you can also look at some of your text ad performance and use that as a beginning foundation to determine where you should start your bid multiplier and then obviously optimize from there on. If you haven't played with the estimated total conversion column in AdWords, it might be something that you want to add right next to your conversion column. You have your traditional conversion column, but there are a lot of what we like to call lead conversions that happen maybe on a phone call or maybe in store. I mean, there's just so many different ways that people could convert, and that's not always being attributed to the campaigns that you guys are managing. So I like to have that side by side and be like, hey, where are the product groups that I see the greatest gaps in? And kind of figure out why is there a bigger gap in certain product categories? And doing some digging might find that certain product categories, for example, are more expensive. And people are not wanting to purchase that online. They want to get on a phone and ask a question about it, talk to a real person. Now, that conversion is not being collected in AdWords, so should we be diminishing the CPCs on that product? I don't know. So it's definitely something to think about is how we can be tracking all types of conversions that are happening out there and finding those gaps where you can really figure out if there's a difference in customer experience and appropriately adjusting bids to match that. Instant Buy is a program on Google Wallet that allows you to do a lightweight implementation on your mobile site and allow a 2-click checkout process. It's been a great way to kind of offset some of the friction that we see once people get to that checkout point. Basically, if you are an Android user and you've bought anything from the Android Play Store, you have your credit card stored and you'll be eligible to buy through Google Wallet Instant Buy if your site has it implemented. And once they click on that Buy with Google button, your credit card information is already there, the shipping address is already there. You just have to say, yes, that's the right one, and move on. This is a great click-through rate on this, and we anticipate great conversion rate increases as well. All right. So we talked a lot about how to prepare for the holidays. So just going to adjust a little bit here to mid-season performance management, what you can be doing during the holiday season when things are really moving pretty quickly and fast. We're pretty excited about the impression tool that we introduced specifically for PLAs and shopping campaigns. And there's actually a lot more coming with this tool in the near future. Some release is actually happening in November. But it's a great way to find those product categories in your campaign that you're finding has low impression share. If that's not where you want it to be, sometimes it's intentional, but if it's unintentional, you might want to dig deeper into those campaigns and figure out where your bids have to be at a impression share that is where you want to be at. Another, like the opposite of that is looking at campaigns where you have really high impression share, and you'd be like, okay, so this campaign is pretty much maxed out. Can I then subdivide and optimize further for those products in those campaigns to really squeeze out every opportunity you can get? For those low impression share categories that you're thinking about where to reset your bids to get to the target impression share you want to be at, you can take a look at the bid simulator tool, which allows you to look at different traffic estimates based on different bid segments that you can consider. The bid simulator tool doesn't actually forecast what your expected traffic will be. It goes backwards. It looks at your historical performance of the products in that product group and show what you would have received if you were to have increased or decreased your bid. Another great thing about this tool is that it's based off of historical values for whatever time frame you're currently viewing it at. So if you're viewing it at a certain week of the year, and then that's the historical performance data that the system will pick up to base this estimation on. I was sort of a late adopter to this, but there is a thing called the Opportunities tab in your AdWords account, and if you haven't really checked it out lately, there's been a lot of changes this year, a lot of improvements. I feel like it's a great backup tool. We're doing a lot of stuff to maintain our campaigns, and it's always great to know that there's a detection tool back there working when I'm not looking at it to find certain campaigns that have been buried that maybe the budget cap is on, or it's like sort of missing out on opportunities. I like to check it every few days just to make sure that there aren't any campaigns that I've sort of missed out on. So it's a great way to kind of test and see that your campaigns are looking to be in good shape. You can also click on the Dimensions tab to segment data by date, day of week and time, which is a great way to consider for day part bidding if you're looking into more advanced optimization tactics. Great. So I just want to end with the truth that holidays is more than your PLA and AdWords campaign. It's hopefully an opportunity for you to spend time with your family and your friends and to celebrate the great relationships and gifts that we have in our lives. And we hope that nothing horrible happens in shopping campaigns, so you can do more of the things that are important to you. Thank you very much. If I have time, am I out of time for questions? Okay. Well, I'm sure that you guys can collect questions, or I'll hang out there for a few minutes as well.
If anyone